What are you doing?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like if I'm the guy, right, and I'm the creep.
Yeah.
And this is my issue with To Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen. If I'm the creep and I want to look for underage, boys or girls, if that's what you do, if you communicate with anyone, you should assume this is the authorities.
Yeah.
So
if you're communicating online about the one crime that literally everybody hates,
everyone
except for Kurt Eichenwald apparently, but everybody else hates this crime, and you're gonna be online, as if they can't trace you. Yeah. So he got tagged. I sent back to the guy. I'm like, you know this dude? Like, do you know what's going on here? How do you know this guy? And he's like, oh, we were just wondering what happened. I was like, oh, he's done.
Yeah, game over.
I can't even put the chats on screen. They're so vilely offensive.
So it's like, I'm assuming he was probably getting very graphic and very
it was revolting.
Yeah, it's unfortunate you have these kinds of people in the world. But at the end of the day, let's think of it like this though. No matter what you can think of, even if the feds are impersonating, I will pimp out his sons or daughters. Somewhere in the world that's going on. Like, by definition, that goes on in Thailand every day, or Southeast Asia, right?
Yeah.
The Philippines, like, because these boys are getting turned into girls to be basically sex slaves.
Yeah.
And be prostitutes. Like, that, by definition, that's the same thing, right? Like,
right.
Oh, I'm gonna go ahead.
And a lot of times their parents are involved in that.
Their parents are involved. So,
yeah.
So and that's basically, by definition, that's human. That's child prostitution and human trafficking. So, Pizzagate. So, you're at a situation where the question is, who do you give the most blame to? Because remember, the governments won't stop it due to the fact that it's revenue, right?
Yeah.
No, like most businesses don't stop it because it's revenue. So ultimately, the only way you can stop anything is to stop the Johns. Right?
Yeah.
Because if there was no, there's always supply and demand, right? If there's no one is paying for, child sex slaves or prostitutes, then they wouldn't exist. So these creeps out here who are doing this, like, really? So that's what you're gonna do with your life, is look for it. Now, this kind of goes back to what you said last stream about should there be, like the sex dolls that are smaller size to emulate children.
Yeah.
You start hearing about all these people out here who are getting involved in all types of pedophilia. You're thinking, is that a better solution? Because remember, the question is, to someone who's this twisted, will it make them more likely or less likely to go out there and do something? You don't really know. With an adult, and you can say, well, hey, this adult has had sexual relations with a consenting adult over the age of 18, or whatever the age of consent is where you live. So, children, this is a website, like a guy. I mean, where does a guy find? Like, how does a dude sit there you're on the dark web one day and you just, this looks like something I would look up. Like, when
I read that existed, I broke. My brain broke. What do you I'm like, wait.
Yeah, I know. It's...
Wait a minute now. What do you mean this exists? I have to assume that everybody on the other end is a Fed, because the alternative assumption is the most terrifying thing I can think of. That there are actually people out there willing to do this.
There are.
I know there are, but I'm refusing to acknowledge that.
Well, by definition, that's what the R. Kelly thing was. Right? Even though guilty of some things, not of others, but at the end of the day, who should be the first person that anyone should go after? If you're a district attorney, who should you be going after first? The parents.
Yeah.
Who's so R. Kelly is an alleged sexual deviant. Okay, well, if you can establish that there's an alleged sexual deviant, then why is it that parents are bringing their underage daughters to R. Kelly?
Yeah.
So if you view if you're saying if you believe the allegations, if you're saying this person is a deviant, or they're the monster, they're the big bad wolf, You are literally bringing people directly to them. Your own children. What does that say about you?
Yeah.
At least the monster, at least the big bad wolf, they are what they are. They just, that's what it is. They're the monster. But you are just feeding them? Come on, man.
We need Willard.
Oh, God,
Willard will solve
pieces.
the problems.
Oh, God.
If y'all haven't seen, I got the DVD. It's at my other house, but I've got the DVD still.
Oh,
Pieces.
God.
If y'all haven't seen Pieces, that's the movie for you. Eric Blum asked, how did we get on this topic? Eric, these topics are going to go a million miles a minute. Things are going to change and go all over the place. This stream is chaos. It'll only probably be focused when we have a guest and see what they're up to. Narcticon DM says Drexel and Nick are the real life Turk and JD. It's Guy Love. Anthony Olson says, hey, love your streams, your guests, and all the content. One question, any recommendations for juicy lore on the Necrons? Favorite 40k race, don't know what lore to start with. Go watch Lutein 09's videos or 40k theories about the Necrons, about the Catan, and about the wars in heaven. Or you can read Lexicanum. The 40k wiki has some interesting stuff. Start there, though, and get an idea for what they are. Those guys, they explain it really well. Lutein 09 and 40k theories. Richie Gonzalez says, so I guess this is Rekieta. I hope your security is all right. It's very good. Very good. That's a dig at the people pulling out of the... So Vic Mignogna got re-invited to a convention that he had been removed from.
Yep.
And then in a huffy tizzy, Monica Rial, the voice of Bulma, the fourth voice of Bulma, only Dragon Ball Super Bulma.
Okay.
Like, so this is Tiffany Vollmer is like the voice of Bulma through DBZ, the one that you know and love.
Mm-hmm.
Monica Rial is the newer voice of Bulma from Dragon Ball Super.
And that's the one who filed the charges against?
No charges have been filed against
or who Me Too'd him.
Yeah.
Who Me Too'd him? The new one or the old one?
The new one. Monica Rial. He and Monica have been working together for like 20 years.
Okay.
They both started in Houston, working the same shows and stuff like that. And she's one of the people who Me Too'd him. Her, Jamie Markey, and and this one cosplay thought named Jesse Pridemore. I mean, just a waste of human. Anyway, so before we tangent on that, so in a huffy tizzy when this guy gets invited back to this Dragon Ball convention because he's Broly and the Broly movie just came out, only makes sense to have him there. He's a title character. She says, "I don't feel safe, so I'm not gonna go. Instead, we're gonna set up an alternative signing somewhere nearby, just a short Uber ride away." Now, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when someone says, "I don't feel safe at this big convention. We're going to set up an alternative signing and let you guys know where it is"?
Well, you would think that those people would go over there.
Well, you're immensely less safe by definition.
Well, yeah, because so the primary venue is where the security is, right?
Yeah.
The people, the security. So if you say, "I'm just going to go,"
Irving, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas. So you've got Metro PD, Dallas Metro PD are staffing this thing for security. They may even have private security as well. I don't know. Yeah,
well, because like I said, it's a large volume. Whatchamacallit? Talking about a large volume,
big venue, yeah.
Venue. So to say I'm gonna go just do my own thing, who? Like, you're gonna go do your own thing. Okay, so you would have to rent out that space, right?
Yeah.
And where you gonna get the? How are you gonna get the? Like you said, all the little details.
Mind you, it's in 3 weeks too. So, I mean, good luck.
Well,
although, what are they gonna do? They just need a coffee shop because it's just like five total voice actors and actresses dropped out. Bulma is the... How bad is this? Bulma is the most notable of them. The others are Beerus. He's the god of destruction.
Yeah.
Which I would argue that in Super, Beerus is maybe more important than Bulma, but...
Now, here's my question with these people.
Yeah.
Okay, so this begs the question. Are these people who also dropped out? Are they people who, from what it sounds like, they didn't meet? They're basically just doing the White Knight routine. They're basically saying like, because she did it, because I believe Vic is a monster.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go either.
Right.
Like because I don't stand for what he is, even though I'm assuming there's no evidence as of yet he has done anything.
Oh, what do you mean? There's mountains of course there's no evidence.
Okay,
This is one of the most filmed men in anime.
Yep.
Because his lines at conventions are hundreds of people long.
Mm-hmm.
So you've never been to an anime con. I hadn't really either, but they have a time where the voice actor or whoever will be sitting at a table, for like 2 hours. And then a line will form and everybody will go up and give them 20, 30, 40 bucks, whatever they charge. And they'll get a picture and a signed picture, and they'll get to say hi and have like a 30-second conversation, right?
Yeah.
You go, it's a little private thing, or not private, but a 1-to-1 for 30 seconds. And then they move through. His lines are hundreds of people long. And he's got a camera on him all the time. Like people are, because he's
a big draw.
He's also, did you watch Full Metal Alchemist at all?
No, I'm aware of it, but I didn't.
He's the main character, Edward Elric, the kid with the metal arm. He voices the main character there, and he's done a bunch of other stuff too. But I mean, so this is not like some rando, because I mean, voice of Broly, and Broly prior to now had like what, 3 movies, 2 movies, something like that.
Yeah, a couple movies. I think that's pretty much it, because he's never in the actual show.
Right. And now he's got the new movie that he's in, but that's it. So that's not really a huge role, but he has a very loyal following. One, because he's done this, he's Edward Elric, that was a huge show.
Yep.
But then 2, because he's just nice to people. He interacts with fans very well.
Now you told me, if I recall last time, you said Vic is the kind of guy that will like doing like pecks on the cheek, kisses and stuff.
He'll hug people. Yeah, he'll hug people and give them a peck on the cheek.
Well, let me just say this. I have mixed feelings on that. It's not a knock on Vic at all. It really isn't. Because based on where you come from, that can be acceptable.
Right.
And obviously, with the way feminists treat sexual assault and sexual harassment, they can change the definition anytime, then go back retroactively and come after you.
Yep.
So he obviously didn't know Me Too was going to come after him later on. My only problem is, this is my issue, it's the same issue I've always had with Michael Jackson. Regardless of what you feel about Michael Jackson, I think everyone can always agree that after the first allegation came out, I believe that was in 1993, that should have been the end of Neverland. It doesn't matter, like I said, it doesn't matter. I don't care if what side you view of Michael, guilty, innocent, whatever. All that matters is, if I'm paying a kid $25 million in a settlement, Neverland is shut down. So I look at Vic and I'm like, yeah, I understand where Vic's coming from, but at the same time, you got to get to a point where like you have to be much more self-aware and aware of your surroundings. Like,
but he's never had this.
Well, obviously he was caught off guard. Like, because I mean, he's never heard anything like. But all I'm saying is, like I said, he's kind of a victim of circumstance. Like, you don't know that. Like, I mean, think about it. Like, I could get Me Too. Someone could just show up, like a chick could show up out of the woodwork and be like, yeah, well, I regret being with him.
Right.
20 years ago. So now all of a sudden, now that's a crime. It's like, well, I mean, you can say it about anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. By definition, your wife could say it. Have you ever heard of those cases?
Yeah.
Where the wife is like, yeah, he sexually abused me. And it's like, wait, what? I've heard those cases. And it's like, if you can change the definition of what sexual assault is, you're screwed. Like I look at Michael Jackson's situation. Michael Jackson was investigated for 10 years by the feds, and they found nothing.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, if I am Michael Jackson's advisor, after the very first allegation payoff, Neverland would have been shut down. Just because I know how people are. It was a Me Too world back then.
Yep.
How many kids after that first kid just started coming out and being like, yeah, it was Me Too, because they saw the money.
Yeah.
Once you see the money, like paying people off, it's a double-edged sword. You pay that one person off, get ready.
Yeah, he should have. he made a business decision on that settlement, and he
Yeah.
probably shouldn't have.
Well, no. At the time, he probably figured this is the only one. Like this kid,
Yeah.
regardless of what you think about Michael Jackson. No, I didn't know that. The Eagle Loan, Elizabeth Taylor told Michael to close their mouth. I would. If I knew Michael Jackson, if I was in his inner circle, I'd be like, dude, close this down. I would do whatever I could do to convince him close Neverland, because so long as you have a place that houses children, you are going to get allegations. It doesn't matter. Like I think people get so caught up in whether or not they believe someone is innocent, guilty, whatever. It's just ignore the innocence or guilt. Let's look at the situation from a standpoint of, if you were advising this individual, what would you tell them? If you ever got falsely accused or accused, period, it doesn't matter if it's false or not. You pay out $25 million, Nick. Shut it down.
Yep.
Shut it down.
Well, and you shut yourself down.
Shut yourself. Yeah. All this is over. All
Retire.
this access that people have to me, all that's gone. So you can
You
still.
Britney Spears. You retire. You go into seclusion, and every 4 years you cut an album, and people go, "Oh, she's still alive."
No, well, you remember though, because it's your livelihood, you still want to be around. But I just think that you need to close yourself off from the public side of your persona. So you still have access to people. You still have access to your fans. How you choose to interact with those fans has to change. So that's my issue with Vic. Obviously, like I said, he's a victim of stuff. Like I said, I this is all news to me because I didn't, I watch anime, but I don't watch it like that, like I used to back in the day. So when you told me about the Vic situation, I was like, you explained it to me. I'm thinking to myself, by definition, what he's doing, you said he's putting his arm around people, especially like with women, and he's giving them a kiss. That is normal behavior in a lot of cultures.
And a lot of them ask for it.
And a lot of them ask for it. That's why I said that is normal behavior.
Yeah.
Where Vic has a problem is he's dealing with this Me Too world that all men are starting to learn how to adapt and maneuver around, which is why, MGTOW has grown substantially. It's because once you can keep changing the definition, this is what you get. I mean, think about it, Nick. What if a client of yours Me Too'd you? What if someone in a court? I mean, anyone, any dude could be a target.
They better watch out.
And it's well, and one of the things that's funny is it's very unfortunate, but I've always viewed it just the same as I view as a black man, Jim Crow.
Yeah.
Because in the Jim Crow era, you could literally just accuse any black male. And the narrative was basically black males are doing all this stuff. Here's a little tidbit for everyone. When it comes to crime, it doesn't matter what crime it is. Someone who looks like you is most likely the perpetrator.
Yeah.
So when they talk about black on black crime, talk about white on white crime, Latino on Latino crime, Asian on Asian crime. Do you know who rapes white women the most? White men.
Right.
Who rapes black women the most? Black men. Who abuses
the government.
Yeah, right. Right. So we're in a situation where people keep trying to Emmett Till, Sakari Ansai, absolutely. Carolyn Bryant, don't think I ever forgot. I didn't. And we're in a situation where people are trying to pretend that these these things aren't interconnected. So you're in a situation now where all men are feeling what white women are mostly raped by blacks. I don't know where that person got that from. Usually it's someone you know, oftentimes your family member. So what we're looking at as a situation is most likely.
Oh, that's cold.
What's that?
Who rapes Eskimo women the most? No one. Rude.
That's brutal.
That is cold.
That's brutal. So we're just in a situation where people need to understand the perpetrators of violence is oftentimes the people closest to you.
Mm-hmm.
I can guarantee you Asians rob Asians more than anyone else, any other ethnic group. That's just the way it is. I saw someone who just made a donation talk about the Mike Pence rule. Do you remember when Mike Pence first talked about his interactions with women and people called him crazy and a sexist and a misogynist? All of a sudden, you saw that Wall Street article, right?
Yeah.
Avoid women at all costs. And now the same women who say that they don't need no man and men are evil and we hate all men. Men, why are you walking away from us? oh my God, well, we need you to be mentors. Do you know what they will do after you mentor them? They'll just me too you.
Sure.
There you go. You just lost your job. Now they took your place. Mike Pence, look, man, it proved to be prophetic. Unfortunately enough, it proved to be prophetic. You know, and someone lived in South Korea. And you're at a situation now where you look at what Mike Pence did, and he was vilified at the time. And someone saying interracial crime is disproportionately perpetuated by blacks. That part is true. But you need to understand, first of all, why that happens. And most importantly, at the end of the day, let's look at, let's say domestic violence. Well, who's living in the same household? People who look the same, most likely.
Yeah.
And people keep coming up with these phony statistics, like or really they just say things. Someone said talk about Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill's article. Did you ever hear about that when he was talking about in the they were asking how does he date in the post world? And yeah, man, I say I view all of this as a positive. Ultimately, I view feminism as a positive. And I don't believe the world is gynocentric enough in this sense. I think a lot of people have it quite wrong in the sense that if people talk about feminism's hold and gynocentrism. But Nick, did you ever think about this for a second?
No.
You can't say it's too gynocentric if guys are still out here in 2019 getting married. Like, you're getting married without a prenup, and they throw out prenups. Did you just hear about the case in Arizona? It states the woman's desire to have a child is more important and has more relevance than the man's desire not to want to father children. Did you hear about that? The embryos.
Yeah.
The divorce. So she's like, yeah, and you have to pay child support. You're like, yeah, but I didn't agree to this. The contract says both parents have to sign off saying, yes, we're going to have these embryos become babies. Nah, man. No. So you guys, like I said, people are so quick to, throw race around and this and that. Like, you guys better figure it out, man. Like, that's not who the real enemy is. It's not the black guy next to you. It's not the white guy next to you. It's not the Asian transgender next to you. That's not the real enemy. Not the real enemy. So it's sad. It's sad that the Mike Pence rule. Nick, I have noticed this in my own life. Going in an elevator, that used to be like a normal thing, right?
Yeah.
You hit the button. You're like, oh man, when's this elevator gonna come? And it stops, opens the door.
I always take the stairs.
And there's a woman inside. Back in the day, you just walked in because you're like, well, I need to get to where I got to get to. No more. Don't do it. Don't do it. Even if you step on the elevator and there's cameras everywhere, she can always say you said something to her. The camera doesn't pick up that, right?
Right.
So she can always say you may suggest something. You can wind up getting Me Too'd over something like that. All you want to do is that you're in a building. You just want to get to the 6th floor. If
you're in that Quality Inn, there's no camera in that
There's
elevator.
no camera. Look, man, look. It happened to me when I was in Montana. I'll never forget. Elevator door opens up, and I looked at this lady dead in the face and just went like this. Nope. And she just kind of gave me this puzzled look, like she's like, no, you can get in. I was just like, no, I'll wait for the next one. And the door shut right in her face. No, I'm not gonna have anyone Me Too me, man. No. Now, if someone comes from, if I get Kavanaugh'd and someone comes up 30 years later talking about, wow, Drex did something to me back in 1997. Yeah, okay, we know this is a lie. No police report ever. You ever notice that? Ever?
Yeah.
There's never a police report. Ever.
Yeah, there's...
In any of these cases, okay, let me ask you something. Can you name any case where there's been a police report? Any.
On what?
Just any, like high-profile case of any kind of someone getting Me Too'd. Has there ever been a police report?
No, it always comes way later. Like,
it's always, they put it on social media, or you see what I'm saying? In the court of public opinion.
Yeah.
So that they want a court of public opinion first to pollute the waters of justice. And then now this person's career is ruined. Your career is ruined. So
yeah.
You're out here now, man. Look, it's gotten so bad. So bad. Hey, the body cams are coming. You think I'm playing, man? It's going to be like, they talk about the cops? Cops with body cams? it's going to be dudes out there now walking around everywhere you go. You're going to see guys out there with body cam. And to nail that point home, when I was at the gym, we need to start talking about these thoughts, these gym thoughts. And I was out there and I said to myself, Nick, you gotta start. Hey, someone talked about Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, don't worry. Yeah. You saw he's back on the air now, right?
Yeah, of course he's back.
Yeah. And so we're in a situation now where I'm at the gym. I'm like, you know what? I'm better off just putting on sunglasses. So that way they came and say I was looking at them. I just want to go to the gym, get my workout, and just, go my own way. And the chicks at the gym, Nick, you got to see the thottery going. It's getting out of control. Like, they're literally almost naked in the gym.
You saying I don't go to the gym?
Oh, here you go.
Someone keeps asking if the doctrine of latches applies to these cases. Only if there were a case. Only if there were a case. But the way they get, so latches is it's a defense in a civil case that they waited too long to bring the charges, and now it's prejudicial to the party that is accused, because how do you defend against something that was maybe 20, 30 years ago? Like, word for word, like, how do you, well, it's your word versus their word, and it was
Correct.
a long time ago. Latches doesn't really, I mean, it's not a criminal defense. Usually it's a defense to civil cases, and because the latches is the statute of limitations in criminal law. The problem is we have a couple of these crimes getting unlimited statutes of limitations. That's what got Cosby, right? Well, these were 30 years ago. Well,
no, Cosby. Okay, so here's what happened with Cosby. Cosby's case was filed the last day before the statute of limitations expired. So the woman who accused him was the most recent within that 10-year gap. Sure. Everyone else, like you said, was like 20, 30 years. It was 27 years ago. Janice Dickinson admits she lied. A lot of these women have been coming out saying that they lied about the whole thing.
Well, that's good. That's nice of them.
Yeah, after basically, here's a rule of thumb for everybody out there. If you see Gloria Allred, whoever's being accused didn't do nothing. Didn't do nothing. If you ever see Gloria Allred,
like a commie Allred.
Oh my God, she's horrible.
Yeah.
The moment you see her, you should already know. Like who, think about it. So where's Gloria Allred to go after Cardi B? Nowhere to be seen. Asia Argento, nowhere to be seen. Oh,
she's a PR attorney.
Huh?
She's a PR attorney.
She's the same thing. I view her the same way I view Jesse Jackson, who's a race baiter, right? Al Sharpton. Now, you know how critical I've been about Al Sharpton ever since the Duke Lacrosse case. Remember that one? Remember that horrible Duke Lacrosse case?
Yeah.
Al Sharpton, for those of you who don't remember, was grandstanding on TV talking about these privileged white young white men had raped this black girl, blah, blah, blah. Crystal Mangum serving time for murder right now.
She is? Ooh. Who'd she
her boyfriend.
How'd she do
He's
it?
an ex-boyfriend now.
Well,
Exed his ass out.
No, he's haunting that lady. What? How'd he get it?
I believe it was a knife. Google Crystal Mangum. So Crystal with the C, and then Mangum.
Thank you for clarifying that Crystal's with a C, because you never know these days.
Yeah, they got Crystal with a K. All these things.
Criminal charge, murder. Hold on, we'll pull it up here. Legal issues. Yeah, repeatedly stabbed and seriously injured her boyfriend. Charged with assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill or inflicting serious body injury. 10 days later, he died in the hospital.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, Crystal Mangum.
Why'd she get second degree?
Well, because they're going to say that you didn't premeditate it, blah blah blah. So it was a fight.
You know what? You maybe didn't premeditate it the first time you stick the knife in him.
Correct.
That second time you stick a knife in him, you thought about it.
You thought about it. I was in a fit of rage. So Jesse, so I'm gonna say Al Sharpton was out talking crazy at that time. I remember it because I remember hearing the story, and like I said, I don't see color. All I saw was, do these facts add up?
Right.
And as I listened to the story, and here I am as a black man, Mangum was claiming that she had been raped by these Duke Lacrosse boys and blah blah blah. And I thought to myself, this story doesn't make sense, because I think there was at least one other stripper there, if not more.
Yeah. And
they were like, nothing happened. Like, what are you talking about? Nothing. So, and as you hear the story, like, when the facts just don't add up, right? And you're just like, nah, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. So when the story came out, the DA, he was disbarred, by the way.
Yeah.
After that case.
Good.
They disbarred him. And rightfully so.
Pretty much all DAs need to be disbarred.
Absolutely. They're the worst people that I've ever met. People talk about defense attorneys. Oh, defense attorneys are evil. So you get accused of something and you need one.
Yeah, give me my halo.
yeah, right? Like, look, man, anyone out there who thinks a defense attorney is evil, yeah, people say, oh, every word out of a defense attorney's mouth is a lie, blah, blah, blah. But guess what? Get accused of something right now. Get me too tonight. Get served and you're getting handcuffed and you're saying, well, what are you talking about? Who's the only person that can help you? That same person you just denigrate, almost, oh, he's evil. They do their job. They do their job. The DA is the absolute worst of the DA and everyone involved in the family court system.
Yep. Oh, family court should that should burn to the
guardian ad
ground.
litem, the judges, the process, everyone is terrible.
Family court is wrecked.
It is the absolute most evil. Like people talk about Nazis, the Nazi party. If you put them side by side and someone asks, think about it. The family court bypasses every rights and laws you are afforded, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a statute of limitation on child support?
Nope.
They can just, a chicken be like, Nick, you don't even have to be the father. They can still come after you. You're like, but this isn't my kid. Too bad. Look in Detroit. In Michigan. Dad by default.
They can lie to you about you being the dad.
Correct.
Have you say, well, I guess this is my kid, even though they were sleeping with like 8 other guys.
Correct.
That you didn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they find out the real dad, well, I'm sorry, but you wrote down that you were the dad. You signed this recognition of parentage, so you are the dad. Like, wait a minute.
Well,
wait a minute.
Well, here's what's bad about that. Did you know that when it comes to recognition of parentage, if you are married, you are automatically listed as the father? So that means, if your wife gets pregnant, has another kid, she's pregnant, oh man, 9 months, here it comes, I got a boy or girl. And all of a sudden, the baby pops out looking black or Asian or something, and you're like, it ain't my genetics. Someone can have, your wife can have an affair. It will automatically put you as the father because you're married. It's like, but this person stepped out of the marriage, obviously, and was having an affair. Yeah. Let's see, we just want someone to pay.
Yep. Gotta pay.
Gotta pay.
Yep.
Dad by default. Just Google dad by default. It's in Michigan.
The state needs it. Because they gotta.
All it's about is money. It has nothing. And they just use, and these women are that. They're that short-sighted. It's like, you understand the magnitude of what's going to happen? And then you wonder why the prisons are overpacked with a bunch of kids who are products of single moms.
No, I watched Me, Myself, and Irene. That's his kids.
That's his kids. Oh my God.
Here, Talbot links. We gotta move the chats. You talk too much. We got 21 and a half hours to go. Talbot Link says, fat, hairy, male Sailor Moon cosplayer is real. Real. Don't Google it. Oh, I'm not gonna. Kaki Onsai says, how did you get past the clinger or a dress? I don't know about that one. That's weird. Fred Rated 1967 says, I'm still convinced Renfamous is a dude in bad drag. Renfamous is one of the cosplay thoughts on Twitter that's been very antagonistic. Here's what she does. She gaslights people on like for example, the people who are for Vic. She will, I don't know if gaslight's the right term. She'll antagonize them until they say something back to her that violates Twitter's terms of service and then report them to get them shut down. Wow, really? Yeah. Of course, she ended up accidentally misgendering someone and got her account suspended like an idiot. You dumb fatso. Izzy Reborn says, hey, Nick, did you happen to see the Blue Orca's empowering speech on YouTube? Yeah, she's officially a nut. No, wait a minute. Are you talking about Renfamous? She has an empowering speech on YouTube. Has anybody watched it? That can't be real. That can't be real. Dean Domino 25 says, I think Cody from Anime Outsiders wanted an invite. Yeah, I'll invite him later. We've got a ton of time, guys. Ton of time. DLC Forces says, I heard there was heresy and I came as soon as I could. That's Spirit. John Doe. Those who hashtag pout for clout should hashtag fear the beard. Shane's Chair says, please bring me on. I have something to say about wiki lawyers. Fat, soy, and more fat. Shane doesn't shower much, by the way. Oh, we can tell. We can tell. Galavan Prime says, Drexel is my new black daddy. Get them child support checks ready. Tautologic says, and so it begins. Godspeed, Nick, you magnificent bastard. Also, say this with your best Biggie impression. I don't do a Biggie impression, but you do.
Impressions?
Well, better than me, because I never listen to Biggie at all. You do a Biggie impression if I tell you the line?
Line.
Smoking gunts was a daily routine.
I remember that from a Biggie track.
Well, I think he said smoking blunts.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to say gunts.
It's how's gunt a better word?
I'll explain later.
I mean...
It's a gut cunt.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm like... so, let me get this straight. Saying gunt is okay, but saying the actual word blunt is bad?
No, they're ripping on another YouTuber.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I don't know all these YouTube.
Yeah, it's an inside joke.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
Wait, now what is the line again?
Smoking gunts was a daily routine.
Yeah, well, he had a list. He's like, smoking gunts was a daily routine. Like, Biggie had that list? That
yeah.
was...
That's not the list. He's got a cheeseburger.
He had the Big Pun had it. Like, he had the fat guy, like...
That's a breathing problem.
Well, you saw Biggie interviews, right? Like, the more money you make, the more problems you get. So my man Puff say. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, just trying to kill you out here, man. This rap game. It's like, dude, you all right?
There's an exercise in just by existing.
Hey, man, Biggie that's my dude, though, man. Life After Death still one of my favorite albums.
Cypher Warrior says, if you start falling asleep, will Drexel slap you? No. I'll have to kill him.
Well, I mean, we got a lot of hours. And, you know, the amount of people who have mentioned Battletoads in the chat and stuff. So the amount of games, speaking of games, the new Switch models.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Upgraded Switch? Mm-hmm. Or are you going to get the downgraded Switch?
No, never downgrade.
Yeah, I thought, the only thing I would want the downgraded Switch to be is like half the size.
Well, I don't think it's going to be half.
It's barely small. It might even be the same size.
Well, all they're doing is that they're just taking away some of the features. Like, it won't have, I bet you it won't have a dock. The Switch
portable.
Mini is going to literally replace the 3DS.
Yeah.
The 2DS at this point, right? So it's going to replace the DS. So now, if you got kids or something that you don't want to give them, that higher priced product, if they just want to always play on the go, they now have a Nintendo console to play on the go.
Yeah.
And the Switch Pro, or that's our little generic name, the Switch Pro, the bigger one that they're coming out with, the more higher powered, you and I have talked about this. I still believe Nintendo should have come out from jump with a Switch that could run base level PS4 or Xbox. The reason for that being...
Make it $900.
I know, that's insane.
Gonna have to pay, have it in that.
No. Remember, base level.
Oh, okay.
So because remember, so a base level PS3 or say PS4 costs what right now? Like,
well, that's okay. So you're talking about the 6-year-old systems.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
So the base level launch specs of a PS. So the reason why I've always said that is that if I were in charge of Nintendo, I would have said, give me base level specs. That way, I can port any game to this, that being my ultimate selling point.
Sure.
Nintendo went with a Tegra X1 off the shelf. So you went with a Tegra X1 off the shelf, and you said to yourself, okay, we're going to go underpower, which is what Nintendo likes to do ever since. Remember, they used to be the cutting edge for graphics up until GameCube. Yeah. After GameCube is when they went, okay, the Wii was a GameCube with motion control. The Wii U was basically a modified Wii, just slightly.
It was Wii with 1080.
Wii with 1080, right? And so now the Switch is basically, they just inverted the Wii U. Is all they did. So now they look at it as like, if I'm Nintendo, this is my end game. I would just say to myself, okay, here's what we're gonna do. Much like the DS, we'll just keep upgrading the hardware. So we'll never be at the same level of the Xbox One X, all this superpower, or the PS4 Pro. We just need to run the base level and then do what? Get those same third-party games, because once they can run on Switch, no one will buy them on the other console. Given the option, we talked about this. Given the option, if you ask this goes for everyone in the chat. For anyone in the chat, you
I got
guys
a better idea.
What's that?
Okay, so Google's doing their new game thing.
Yeah, that was it. Stadia,
whatever. But it's just a controller, and all of the processing or whatever is done on a Google server somewhere, so you don't have to have any hardware other than the controller, which we know is going to be a terrible plan.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of that, your Switch Pro is a base station at home.
Mm-hmm.
A base station at home that has the guts of like a PS4 or an Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just streaming you video and streaming back the controls. I mean, they do this already.
Mm-hmm.
So all you need a cell chip in it.
Yep.
You get some discounted rate, unlimited data plan, tied in with your Nintendo Switch Online subscription or whatever. So it's, I don't know, make it $40 a month. Who cares? Hear me out.
You're saying all the games are free, right?
Well, I mean,
because if you're going $40 a month, I'm thinking about it, like for the average gamer, that means that'd be like them buying a new console every year. That's still $480 a year.
So
but we're talking about for the average gamer. The average game. If you ask the average gamer, do you want to spend $480?
No, but this is the premium product.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So you've got a processing monster at home, sitting there, and all you're doing is streaming to your thing. I mean, you don't have to have the cell service from the Switch. You could connect to Wi-Fi or whatever.
Correct.
But if you wanted it, you could have that option for the data streaming. It doesn't have to be 40 a month. I don't know. I threw a number out. But so then all you're doing is transmitting compressed video to your Switch, and you're transmitting your controls, which is basically no data, back home.
Correct.
So they could do that, and then that's how you cram processing power into something small.
True.
I want to see.
Here's the problem with that, though. So, like, I'll give you a prime example. You are about
40 a month. Who cares? A lawyer. Sorry.
So, okay. So here goes a little problem with that, though. Okay, suppose you need to get somewhere, right? You're about to go on an airplane ride, or you're about to hop in the car or something, right? What separates the Switch right now is that portability, right? The ability to look. Nate Sybil talked about that. The Vita tried it. Yeah, they did fail miserably.
It's not my fault. They're bad at it.
I know. Well, the NVIDIA Shield. One of the things is, though, where the Switch needs to focus its power is go like this. We don't need to be cutting edge. Nintendo hasn't done cutting edge since the GameCube. All they needed to do is run the base level of a PS4, because that means you can port any current gen third-party game. So if someone says, so watch this. Hey, Nick, you're a fan of God of War. Do you want God of War on the PS4 Pro, or do you want the God of War on the Switch?
I'd take Switch.
You're going to, no matter what game I tell you, you're going to say Switch because of portability, right?
I wouldn't have until I got one.
That's what I'm saying, like, because that would be the selling point, right? Like,
because when I put Skyrim on the Switch and started playing it, I was like, I don't even care about Skyrim, but this is fun because I can just take it with me.
And that was a selling point, right? Like, to be honest, I kind of go back to the selling point of the Switch, right? Like, their initial commercials and stuff. Like, I thought, obviously, they were much better than the Wii U's, because the Wii U, people were like, what is this thing? What is this big gamepad? So they did a better job marketing.
Disaster.
But like the Wii U was basically the beta test, right?
Yeah.
It basically was, without the Wii U, you can't have a Switch. The problem I had with the Switch is that they should have gone like this. From jump, they should have shown that, that duality. I think they should have highlighted that more. And they also should have said to themselves, we need gamers to be able to play a base level PS4/Xbox One on this console. That way, you have immediately solved the problem that Nintendo has been lagging for the last 3 generations, which is third-party support. So imagine, like I said, even if you got something like, even The Last of Us on Switch. The Last of Us has sold who knows how many millions of copies. I bet you a lot of people would rebuy The Last of Us just to say, like, I can play it on the go, like you said about Skyrim. Just to be able to play on the go. Final Fantasy VII just released on Switch.
Like, I'm tempted to play Diablo 3 on Switch, even though, like, I have trouble stomaching it on PC. Same thing over
I know a lot of PC gamers who actually have Switches.
Yeah.
Because, okay, so in the console wars...
I mean, they got Hammerwatch, and they got... no, I don't think they have Hammerwatch, but they got Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah, I got Gungeon on Switch. Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
We gotta read through more of these.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Bagel Goose says, get Alex Jones on. That'd be funny. I'd have Alex Jones on the stream. Alex, if you want a career boost, come over here. Crown Vidya says Devil May Cry 5 stream with Ruben Langdon when? I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but that'd be fun. Lil Yander says, I made it to a live stream, finally. Love your channel content and hashtag I stand with Vic. Jedi Knight Tigger says, love your content, listen to you driving to/from work. When you offend anyone tonight, I sent you the perfect report form on Twitter to offer them. Thank you. The DCV Titan says, for the record, I would love it if you covered the case of the guy caught with CP, child porn, especially if it's the brother of a certain someone that ran their mouth on Twitter wanting presumption of innocence. This is funny. One of the voice actresses who is accusing, or not accusing Vic, but standing with the victims of Vic Mignogna, right? Like,
well, that's a thing.
She's one of the voice actresses who pulled out of the convention, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, been relatively quiet, but she had to pull out of the convention, because
PPs were hurt. I get it.
Her brother, no joke, catches a child porn a child porn charge. Okay?
Okay, here we go.
His defense.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't me. Right?
No,
the Shaggy defense.
The Shaggy defense.
The Shaggy defense wasn't me. I bought a used hard drive and it was just on there. Problem with that defense. How the feds catch you. Or, well, it wasn't the feds. How does Florida PD catch you? Oh, because suddenly your IP address shows up on a torrent site sharing child porn.
Correct.
Oh, it wasn't me. I had no idea it was there. Oh, wait. Yeah, so...
It was you.
Yeah.
It was you. So
here's the thing. So what'd she do? She's out there saying, stand with the victims, believe all women.
Yeah,
then suddenly... her brother catches a charge. Whoa, we got
due process.
Innocent until proven guilty, due process, all that stuff.
Well, do you know that the biggest incident that happened with is, I'm sure people in the chat already know about this if they kept up with the Vic Mignogna case, is the head of Time's Up. That chick, her son just got Me Too.
Right.
So the same people who do the whole, like you said, that always are quick to say, believe all women, believe all women. They're always victims. The moment it's someone in there who's close to them, then it's whoa. That same thing happened with Rose McGowan, right?
Yeah.
When Asia Argento, when that whole thing happened, and the Bennett kid had the pictures, like it was flat out. Asia Argento admitted to it. They had the text messages. She admitted to having a sexual relation with a minor
and paying him a bunch of money too to keep it quiet.
Yeah. I think that was Anthony Bourdain who ended up going ahead and did the necktie. He went ahead and went that route. So I think what ends up happening is these people, because they have care-based morality, not justice-based morality. When you have care-based morality, you just keep moving the goalpost to fit your own end, right?
Yeah.
So that's why you start noticing a lot of women who say, believe all women, believe all women, believe all women. As soon as something happens to someone that they know and care about, then it's, innocent until proven guilty, due process. We need to wait till all the facts come out. It's like, wait a minute. How did your story just change? Because they're going to move the goalposts because that's care-based morality. A person with justice-based morality goes like this. Due process is the standard every time. So whatever the standard is, that's the standard for everybody. It doesn't matter, what side of the fence you're on. And it's sad that you got these people out here trying to do this, but you know what? No, forget them. Forget them. Like when I hear from these Time's Up people, Me Too people, I take significant precautions in my own private life. To avoid any Me Too situation. Like I said, even something as simple as not getting into an elevator with women. You got a Mike Pence rule it all the way to the core. Because if you don't, Nick, it could happen to you. You get Me Too. I
don't talk to anybody.
You just have to. You just, like I said, the people that you know. Otherwise, like if you don't know somebody, Nick, are you going to really engage with them? No, because you don't know them. You don't know what their intent is. You're like, nah, I'm good.
I trust nobody.
Trust nobody. You got your family. You take care of your family. That's it. Anyone else like that, dude, I don't want to talk to you.
Yep. Let's see. Next, we got Baron Nathan Dean says, we got a couple of Poindexters here. Eat some money, you nerds. Oh, thanks. Tech7 Go says, what about your time slot for your loyal Discord crew? Chill your Discord, by the way, you boomer. Ron Soye deleted tweets after getting letter from a lawyer not to do it. What are the actual consequences of his actions? Depends on the tweets. Depends on the tweets. Not a good idea to delete things. Chill my Discord. Okay, so if you subscribe to me on New Project 2 or on Patreon at the $5 a month level or higher, you get access to a closely curated, a small Discord community of people who enjoy the show and have their own sort of community going on there. And we do Wednesday live chats, except this past Wednesday, but typically we do Wednesday live chats and stuff like that. And it's a good place to be. So check that out, either patreon.com or newproject2.com/Rekieta Law. Those are all down in the description, by the way. Ragna Blood Edge says, hey, Drexel, careful. Your internalized racism from supporting Nick dressing up as you is showing. Just kidding, lol. Keep up the awesomeness, both of you. Talbot Link says, so many types of thoughts out there, Dr. Seuss could write a novel. Andrew War Snowboard says, what about Vox Day? That was in response to all the different publications we were going through. We mentioned Vox. Knight of Hopex says, married people have more sex than other people. At least that's what the data we have shows. I, however, was waiting until marriage and it didn't pan out for me. So I've been over here throwing off statistics in my 30s fail fish. There you go. Sorry to hear that, buddy. Matthew Needig says, someone make sure to take a cap of Nick at the start and end of the stream and compare them. Oh, it's going to be a disaster. John Zuccaro. Keep up the good fight for Vic. Stumbled across your channel last week. All the best to Ty Beard and his firm. Thank you for the efforts for Vic. I gave to Vic's defense fund. Love your channel. Thank you. DCV Titan says, never be the cuck, only be the bull.
Wow.
Earjuice says, I have a National Socialist haircut. So apparently, the high top fade. I've got the white nationalist haircut.
Yeah, it's Hitler-esque, maybe.
Did not see.
Yeah.
That's what I go in and say to my Mexican barber. I'm like, hello, give me the Nazi. That is what I want. Give me the Nazi.
You ever been to Germany?
No.
Oh.
You? Well,
no,
you probably.
I'm going.
You're going.
I'm going.
Watch out for trains.
Yeah. Hey, man, look. When you go to these countries, man, you got to make sure you watch your back, man. Is there still Battletoads on the table? Yeah, Battletoads is actually on the table, even though the wait, I asked that.
Good luck,
Kevin Croner. You know what's crazy, Nick? Is that, I mean, okay, the Switch aside, because I think the Switch has a chance to be like that console that people are going to remember for the next 100 years. Because I think when the dust settles, Nintendo will be the only major game company standing.
Okay.
And I don't think we're ever going to see something like the Nintendo again. Like I said, other than the Switch. Like, you know, like just that console that, like, you know, just gives like that warm, fuzzy feeling. Like the PlayStation did it for a lot of people, right?
Sure.
You know, it was a console that, you know, it came out at the right time. But Nick, that Nintendo right there, it just gets you in the feels. You know what I'm saying? Like you
mean the regular
old 8-bit Nintendo. Like it brings something out of you that nothing else can. Like
unending frustration and rage.
I mean,
play RoboCop.
Put in Ninja Gaiden when the original Ninja Gaiden dropped. You know, the trilogy. You had part, 1, 2, 3. The games got so ludicrously difficult. I remember an angry video game nerd doing a video about Ghosts and Goblins. And everyone
my kids tried playing Ghosts and Goblins.
The face that people make when they play the NES, like, you can't believe the game is this unfair. You're like, why is it so hard?
And they haven't even played Wizards and Warriors 3 yet.
Kuros. Well, when remember I was playing Wizard Warriors 2 when I was playing Iron Sword. The only game that takes away a continue when you progress.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what? It took away a continue. If you understand why that's insane, they don't make things like that anymore. Because every game is designed for you to beat now. It's designed for you to progress. Like, save points.
They care so much about their stupid story. That's the problem. The game devs care so much about the story that you have to get through it so you can see their masterpiece. And I don't think they realize that most of them suck.
Most of the stories are terrible. I'll give you that. The ones that I really liked, storyline wise, I think they like. Remember, now I'm a story buff. I love a great story.
Like Akari Warriors, great story.
Yeah. You go back and look at any game from that era. what was the story? If you weren't saving a princess, you were saving hostages if you played an action game.
Hold on. Ian Sarver, you said, I beat both games of Wizards and Warriors, got both games as a kid. Buddy, there are three.
Three Wizards and Warriors.
And trust me, Iron Sword seems easy when you play 3. At least to me. At least to me. Sorry.
Well, you know what's kind of funny though is like a lot of people talk about Dark Souls being so hard. I only got to play that for a second, so I can't really talk about Dark Souls. But when someone asks me about some of the hardest games, if you want like just literally games that are just flat out brutal, they were all on old school consoles, 8 and 16-bit, especially 8-bit, because like, even 16-bit, you notice the games got a little. You saw an easier difficulty,
right?
Like, okay, what's the hardest Super Nintendo game you remember? You don't really remember, right? You don't remember the hardest Genesis game?
Maybe North versus South. That the Civil War simulator. Civil War, that game was hard, man.
You had on Genesis, you had like Kid Chameleon was pretty tough, especially as you got to those later levels. But like, I still think that by definition, a platformer is always innately the hardest genre. Like nothing can be harder than a platformer.
Mega Man,
like it's made to be hard. Like, oh, so Nick, how do we make this harder? We'll have the disappearing blocks, and then there's spikes at the bottom. There's little repeating guys come out here to hit you while you're. Everything that you can design in a platform is made to be difficult.
I remember the hard. It was a fighting game called Warlords, I think, and you could. I remember it was tough. Clay Fighter was hard, by the way. But Warlords.
But that was more cheap than hard. It was like because the computer could do stuff that you couldn't do.
Rise of the Robots.
Rise of the Robots was ridiculous.
Actually,
by Brian May.
I've seen a guy just smoke it like no problem.
Oh really?
Yeah, you can because you can break the AI by doing something. Cheesy.
Okay, yeah, because
but there's this, I think it was called Warlords. You could balls. That game was hard. You could chop off your opponent's head as like a finisher, even though you had to do it as like the last hit, and their head would fly up, and as it came down, you could juggle it. You could.
Oh really?
You could air juggle.
What game was this?
I think it was called Warlords. It was a fighting game with like Vikings and stuff like that. Warlords is probably wrong, but something like that. I always remember it was in the W's. Someone said Oddworld. What was that? What was that game?
Vladimir, the real
Out of
Mario
This
2.
World.
Out of This World was, but you know though, I think Flashback might have been harder than Out of This World.
Weapon Lord is the game I'm thinking
Lord.
of. Yeah, that game was cool.
War Gods on N64. Yeah, I remember Smash TV. We just talked about that earlier.
Good luck.
So for everybody in the chat, I'm actually going to give a free shout out. There's a place in Chicago called The Galloping Ghost. And for those of you in the chat, maybe you know about it, maybe you don't. You pay $20. You go in there and all their they have like 700 arcade cabinets set to free play.
Yeah.
You just pay that one initial fee and they're open till like 3 a.m. So if you guys Google The Galloping Ghost, it's in Chicago or like just outside. It's in a little suburb.
Gallop on these nuts. Sorry. It's an unbelievable place. Like it is literally a place that you can just spend all day in. Yeah, somebody was talking. There's that Daylin T talking about Castlevania 2. I miss that era. Nick and I think about the games that we had to beat. We had to beat Streets of Rage on Mania. Yep.
I saw someone, whoever that was, just shout out Einhinder on the PS1.
Hey,
Einhinder's no joke, man. That's underrated. Squaresoft shooter, get it. Find it on eBay or Amazon. It probably costs like $100. So that game is rare.
That game is difficult.
Einhinder was difficult. Like it just.
And the ship you get when you beat it isn't better.
Right? You look at just you end up looking at just like that era of games, right? So basically let's just say from the 80s till for the most part the early 90s. You can kind of add some later 90s because there were a couple of gems on the PS1 in terms of difficulty. But Einhinder, the best Contra game.
Hey, what about R-Type Delta?
R-Type was no joke. You had the R-Type Final, R-Type Delta.
You had to earn continues on R-Type Delta.
Earn the continues, man.
Yeah, that was good.
F-Zero GX, yeah. You look at just if you had the people in the chat to just type in like what do they believe is the most difficult game they can ever remember playing. Because like, so Nick, what was yours? Like, I'm trying to think like the most difficult ever.
Ever?
Remember though, it has to. But here's the thing: it can't be a broken game.
Wizards and Warriors on Game Boy.
Forces of Fear.
Yeah. You can't see the arrows coming because the
the graphics though.
Fortress of Fear.
Fortress of Fear. You look at some of these games. I mean, look at some of the games that I got guys in here talking about. That's on for Pac-Man, Kick a Million, Forgotten Worlds, Metroid, Ghosts and Goblins, Castlevania, Oregon Trail.
Hey, you got Total Recall. Total Recall was hard.
I don't really. Ninja Gaiden 3 was no joke. There's a lot of games that I don't quite remember.
Narc.
I saw some was Donkey Kong Country. The original was actually easy. The original Donkey Kong Country was easy comparatively. Some of those later Donkey Kong Country, especially with the new one, Tropical Freeze, those bonus levels.
The Immortal. The Immortal was real difficult. It was on Genesis and Super NES. It was like an RPG thing, and it had pretty brutal deaths that you could do. Like you killed things in different ways. There's a lot of games. We got to go more chats. We'll get back to NES stuff. People want to play. They want us to play the Battletoads. We'll have to do it at some point. Guys, I got to tell you, Lady Rackets really wants to be around for some of our Battletoad play. Marble Madness.
Oh.
Hey, one of my kids is playing Marble Madness the other day on I think it's on Switch Online. They were getting ruined.
Did they get past first level?
I don't think. Maybe. They're used to the iPads, man.
Yeah.
They don't have the eye-thumb coordination.
My girl struggles mightily with 2D games. Like, mightily.
Yeah.
I've seen her play. Like, I've seen her play because she can only play with analogs. Like, she was playing Little Big Planet. That makes sense to her. But if you just give her like Mario Brothers 1 with a D-pad, her brain just doesn't comprehend a D-pad. I'm just like,
yeah. My kids were Lady Raggeds and I start playing Mario Brothers 1, and they're
it's
like,
a lot harder than you remember.
They're like, oh, go over here for the warp. We know where the warp is.
We know the warp.
How do you know this? I found it on YouTube. We know where the warp is.
So everyone knows. Oh my God! Solid Snake, 720 degrees.
Hey.
Ow! The little dust cloud would follow you. Yeah, Batman on NES was brutal, man. Batman was no joke. Batman was no joke.
Bayou Billy.
Adventures of Bayou Billy.
I've rented Bayou Billy maybe 50 times.
It's no joke, man.
I never got anywhere.
Scared to die. So put Metal Slug.
Snake's Revenge.
Snake's Revenge. To me, that counts as a broken game.
Metal Mech. I saw someone beat Metal Mech.
Look at this guy.
Who?
Will you do a warpless run of Battletoads?
No.
No one does warpless runs.
You got to be a pro. You got to be a speedrunner. And they don't do it 2-player usually. Okay, next. Kyle says, Drex, you talk about out-of-control hypergamy. Feminism and the war on masculinity. What is your solution? Go MGTOW to watch the system collapse? Read PUA like Rollo Tomasi / Roosh to navigate a Me Too world? Or go all MRA / traditional conservative to try to fix it?
No, I actually do have a solution to gynocentrism. There is an actual way to defeat feminism. For those of you who are into martial arts, jiu-jitsu, the actual martial art jiu-jitsu is to do what? Similar to judo. You use your opponent's momentum and strength against them, right?
Yeah.
So in order to defeat feminism, you have to adopt a few traits of the pawns that they are using, which in this case would be the women. So one of the very first thing that men need to do, the very first thing we have to do, because I've heard, you have the TFMs of the world talk about taking women's rights away. You won't be able to repeal the 19th Amendment due to the amount of white knights and beta males, right? You have beta males in power. As long as women vote, that's why. Like, so ultimately, the people that you need to defeat are the beta males in power, right? That's your actual end goal, because you need the military on your side. The way that you defeat feminism is that men as a collective have to do what women do, which is hive mentality. So I'll give you an example. What if from now on, Nick, men no longer did the whole like divided by, color, divided by, religion. What if now men went like this? This is going to be our goal. This is our standard as men, as a collective, just like what women do. Like when they make laws against men, you don't see women come out there and say, this is wrong, right? They have a hive mentality. Thus, you need a hive mentality to defeat feminism. So what happens if someone goes like this? So prime example, let's say you're a single mom. What if the new standard, because remember, women's world is the social world, right?
Sure.
So what ends up happening is, I want you to imagine this. You're a woman, you're a single mom, and you thought, yeah, I got that child support money or whatever it is. And then all of a sudden, you realize overnight, men don't associate with you. You no longer get a boyfriend. You're not even pumping up material. You go, well, what happened? That means that men now have a group collective think. And they go like this, from now on, there are no more single moms. You're not going to deal with, so you start to go down the line. All dudes start adopting Pence rules. So now that becomes the new standard that all men adopt. And like I said, intersectionality doesn't have to be a negative. That's why I've always maintained, in order to defeat feminism, the trump card is the trans community. So here's what happens. We need to defend the trans community. Like, just like, men talk about, men are the providers and protectors of women, that we have to protect women. Well, women have turned their backs on us and sold us out to government, right?
So it is ma'am.
yeah. Homeboy in
how dare you?
Home girl in
Thank you.
GameStop. So you think about this from a critical standpoint. Take away any bias you have and just look at it from situation dispassionately. I want you to imagine what would happen if now the trans, I guess that would be trans women. So the men who want to be women. What if straight men started, hear me out. On one hand, they get protected. So there's no more, trans being beaten in the streets or whatever and all that stuff, right? So that's on one hand. On the other hand, you use the other side of intersectionality, right? The other hand is this. Dudes can openly date and, whatever with trans. And someone goes, why is that important? That's important because the same feminazis on the intersectionality, like you call it, the stacking scale.
Yeah.
The trans is more oppressed, right? So that means if a dude just walks around with a trans girlfriend or whatever, right? And a woman tries to scoff or something, you're transphobic. You can use the exact same thing feminists use against men.
I'm not with it.
Look, like I said, you have to take away all of, you're using all of their tactics against them.
Yeah.
The whole,
so you're talking about sacrificing just for the war. Like this is for the win.
So you have to actually win a war, because ultimately what you need to do is make the shift. So when I talk about gynocentrism, right? You need to make laws more gynocentric. And someone goes, wait a minute, is Rex a traitor? Let me explain. Ultimately, you have blue pill, beta male, white knight cucks that are in power, right?
Yeah.
So what you need to do is you need to make marriage such a bad deal for all men that even the most blue pill dude in the world wouldn't accept it. The Bible talks about in the marriage vows, it says that the woman's supposed to submit. Love and submit to your husband. Now it's cherish. The language has been, because the church is gynocentric. They've switched. I
don't like this.
But you have to look at the big picture in order to hit a reset. Because the only other option is to wait for the collapse. Because this has all happened before.
Dating a trans is looking at the big picture, and you know it.
Nice pun. But at the end of the day, you need them on your side. There's certain people you need. Remember, when you look at war, like for those of you in the chat who have read Sun Tzu's The Art of War, you have to win you don't have to actually fight. This is a war you can win without actually, you don't ever have to sit there and say to yourself, we're going to strap up arms and have a civil war. You can win a war without ever even getting to that point. You can win the war without actually having the collapse. And there are lots of MGTOWs out there who say to themselves, we're just going to just disconnect from the system. Yeah, but it's more to it than that. It's more to it than just disconnecting. There's more to it than that. And you have to get to a point where you have to win the war. It's not about, your little moral points. And it's about winning a war. There's a war on men. Like, the way I started seeing things in the manosphere is that I started thinking that it was a war against straight men, right?
Sure.
Then all of a sudden I was like, is it just straight black men? Because like I look at what happened with Genuine. Genuine didn't want to kiss the trans woman, and they went after Genuine hard.
Really? Anybody paid attention to Genuine after 95?
I know. But Genuine,
I haven't even heard of him in 20 years.
I hadn't heard of Genuine since about, I don't know, 2000 maybe. So Genuine was sitting in the chair like this, and the trans tried giving Genuine a kiss, and Genuine was like, "Whoa!" and all this flack. But this is proving my point. This goes to prove my point. I'm not saying someone should go out there and just hit women or beat women. I saw someone in the chat say like, "Oh, I'm advocating for stabbing women" or something. I think I saw in the chat, which is always funny because I like when people project their own storylines, their own narratives onto something you said.
It could have just been a meme.
Oh well.
You gotta remember the memes.
Oh well.
This is the great meme war, still going from 2016.
Oh, is it?
It'll never stop.
Oh, that's cute. But you have to understand. I think what ends up happening is a lot of people have these thoughts where they project their own value system. Right? They'll say something like this, like, "Is he saying that people should be dating trans?" Like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that you should or shouldn't do whatever. I said all I'm saying is, in terms of intersectionality, the trans community is higher on the list of oppressed, quote unquote, people.
Right.
Men need to, as a collective, go. We should be filing as we're the minority. Are we not? There's fewer men on earth than women. How are women listed as a minority? Explain it to me.
I don't want
the greatest beneficiaries of affirmative action were not black men. It was white women. Explain that. So if you understand the full spectrum of how broken the system is, the fact that the family system has completely collapsed, it's this close to just being completely dying off. That's how you have hookup culture now. That is an act of feminism, sexual liberation. Now you have hookup culture. Does hookup culture help anybody? No. STDs are sky high. You're starting to get all the, a lot of just broken people.
Yeah.
Broken. So, Nick, have you ever seen a spinster?
Would you say busted?
They've been out here.
A Spencer, like a Spencer Gifts? What are you talking about?
Yeah. Rick Sanchez, C137. You hit the nail on the head. You have to out crazy them. You remember, you have to fight fire with a blazing inferno. You don't fight fire with fire. Because what ends up happening is, I want you to imagine this. What if the new marriage, what if when men went to go get married now, right? Let's say 3 years from now.
Just grandfather me in and I'm with you.
Well, obviously, we're saying
I don't need this nonsense in my life.
I want you to hear me out. What if, because the language in marriage has changed now, right?
Yeah.
When the wedding vows come, so why can't the new language be, do you promise to, and they look at the man like, love your wife? Yep. You promise to submit to your wife, do whatever she tells you. What if that became the new language? You are now her servant.
Yeah.
And then, so what if the laws now said
Queen?
No, but seriously though, but hear me out.
Yeah.
We should have a situation where we need to make the marriage contract so bad that not even the biggest blue pill simp would take it. So they should say something like this.
I don't know.
Alimony is 100%. No, hear me out though, Nick.
Yeah.
All you're doing is this is similar to like the civil rights era with Malcolm and Martin, right? They viewed Malcolm as so radical. Right? They were like, well, that guy's he's too radical. We'll listen to this guy.
Sure.
It's the same thing. So by definition, they both wanted the same thing, right? They wanted the same end goal.
Right.
For the most part. So that's all you're doing. You're going to make the contract for men. You're going to literally break the system down from within. Use all of its own techniques and go like this. Okay, so you're using marriage against men? We're going to help you do it. So now, imagine being a man, let's say 5 years from now, people listen to me. They probably wouldn't. More men are going to be led to the divorce court, getting hosed.
But this is accelerationism.
This is accelerationism, right?
Yeah.
So you look at it and you would say to yourself this. Imagine this. You sit there and you get ready to go get married and they tell you the new law states alimony is forever. And alimony can only be paid to a woman. A woman can in no way, shape, or form ever pay alimony to a man. So even if she's a multimillionaire and you're a deadbeat, you still got to pay her. So all of a sudden, think about this. Even the most simpish dude would be like this. That's a terrible deal. You need the white knight to turn to your side.
Yeah. I see what you're saying, but I don't think I don't know that they ever do.
No, here's the thing though. Now remember though, this is when you need Me Too. Ultimately, these guys are a lot of these guys who are male feminists. They're the perpetrators, right?
Sure.
You need to help these same women, the same women that you were basically setting up in a sense. Go ahead, let them just go wild with Me Too. Literally, like, in France, j'accuse, they're literally pointing at people, just j'accuse.
Okay, so the goal is to make it so that
The system has to collapse on itself.
Because the only people who will marry then would be the most beta of men possible.
Correct.
The Shanes and the Rontoyes. They're like, yes, I will give up 100% of my income. I'll pay alimony if we ever break up, even if it's her choice. I will pay her for the rest of my life because she's queen.
Yep.
And that's
the deal has to be.
I see what you're saying.
Absolutely, because remember, the system is designed a certain way. You have to use everything that the system uses. You just go like this. That's what jiu-jitsu is, right? For those of you in the chat, if you guys are UFC fans from when UFC first debuted, Royce Gracie, right? Nick, you remember watching this from UFC 1. For those of you who remember Royce Gracie, you have all these big, huge guys coming in, the Ken Shamrocks of the world, right? The Chemos of the world, big, imposing dudes. And Dan Severn, all these guys lost to Royce Gracie.
You're bigger than all of them. That's the funny thing. You realize?
I might be, yeah, because I'm 250.
Oh, you're only 250? I thought you used to be a little bit bigger.
250. No, this is probably the biggest I've been. I lift
I lived
a little bit.
I'm gonna throw you out. I'm gonna throw you on the street for saying
you're right. Like so you look at Royce Gracie though, right? What did Royce Gracie use, right? He was using his Gracie Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So when people look at what Royce did, he took all the strengths of his opponents, right, who are significantly bigger and stronger, and he beat them.
Sorry, I'm dying at I lift. Oh my god!
Royce had to crush Chemo's balls to win. But seriously, if you guys think that you're going to beat this gynocentric feminist system by just going like this, I just won't play the game. They can keep changing the laws on you. They can get to a point where, like I said, in France, j'accuse. So a woman can just walk up and go like this. Him. You heard about a kid got Me Too. You hear about that? A kid.
How old?
He was, I want to say about 12 to 14. I believe he was like middle school age.
What did he do?
He didn't do anything. The girls just didn't like him.
What did they said he did?
So they claimed that I believe they said he did like sexual harassment type behavior, right? So the kid winds up getting in trouble. I think he got expelled. They come to find out the girls were lying, of course.
Oh, no, this kid was older than that. If you're talking about the court case where the parents like sued the girls.
Yeah, they did that.
I think that kid was like 15, 16.
He's still a minor.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Because what did I say, 12 to 14? So 15, 16. So he's a minor. A minor is getting Me Too'd because women and girls know they're not held accountable. So they
literally said, we don't like him.
The actual reason, for those of you guys in the chat, listen to me. The Mean Girls case, whoever that was, I
actually have a live stream on it if you want to go. I mean, I don't know which one it was, but I covered the whole case.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Oh, it's called the thumbnail says Burden of Proof. So yeah, you can go check it out. It was pretty interesting.
It was a kid.
Yeah.
Imagine that's your son. Imagine that's your nephew. Imagine that's your brother. And here you got a kid, 16, 15, just living his life, going through school, trying to make it like everybody else, and just bam, he gets Me Too'd. And the kid's like, I didn't do anything. Yeah, yes, you did. Now, a kid doesn't have the same level of repercussions in terms of like losing their reputation because he has no income to lose. You know what I'm saying? He's not in the workforce. But imagine he was. Imagine you're in the workforce and you're just living your life, and then Me Too. You're ruined. And then they come to find out, it was all a lie, but the damage has been done. The damage has been done. Yeah,
that was okay. So here's an interesting thing. So on the Dick Show about this Vic Mignogna thing, there's a guy named Digibro who's an anime reviewer or whatever, and he was saying, well, there's been stories about Vic going back forever. Why would all these different people, like, why would they make it up? Why would they make it up? And Dick's response was, he's a handsome man. He has something to take. Like, that's correct. That's the funny thing. Same. It was with the Mean Girls. Well, why would they make it up about this kid?
Right.
Because
they can.
Because they can, and because they did. It doesn't. It's a writing class all over again.
Yep.
Well, this story doesn't seem believable, but we're telling the story because it happened. Like that's it.
Pain and Gain.
You're right.
Pain and Gain. Everyone who watched one of the few times I ever liked Michael Bay, by the way. But when you watch Pain and Gain, it was so ludicrous that they had to keep saying, yes, we know how ridiculous it is. This actually happened. They had to keep reminding you that something this insane could happen.
Yeah.
You remember how insane that movie was?
Oh, it's great.
You're watching it, you're like, you don't want to believe that anyone could be this stupid.
Best scene in the whole movie is when
The Rock had the hand.
Yeah, The Rock's grilling the hand. Outside. And it freeze frames and it says, remember, this is still a true story. Oh, it's the best scene in that entire movie. Fourth wall gets broken. Okay, there's an important question.
Ooh, what's that?
Would you cuck Ron Toye? I'm gonna give you a list, a bunch of pictures of Monica Rial for you to, because there's various Monica Rials, right? Through the ages. So here you go.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Would you do it?
Oh, so this is the Bulma chick, right?
Yeah, it's Bulma.
Okay, so
Someone asked, would you cuck Ron Toye?
All right, so here's how this works.
That's a Burley Knoll says, I gotta ask Drexel if Drexel would cuck Ron Soye. Oh, I'm Soye.
Oh, so Ron Soye, not Toye. Oh, so here's the deal on this. Okay, so by definition, yes, right? Like just in terms of like, is she smash or dash, right?
Yeah.
So here's the problem though. Because I know she's a Me Too type of chick, we're just saying like in a hypothetical, the answer is yes. But in the Me Too world, the answer is of course no.
So you look at that spread of pictures and you say yes?
Yeah, in terms of smash or dash, yeah, she's smash.
That's fair.
It's fair.
That's fair.
I didn't say she was a 10.
I'm not saying anything either way. I'm trying to get your honest opinion.
Yeah.
So okay.
Now hold on now.
I mean, some of those pictures aren't very.
I'm looking at this one. Okay. Bottom center.
Bottom center.
Green shirt.
Oh, that looks like a bad picture.
Is it though?
I don't know.
Because look. Now, let me just say this for those of you guys in the chat, guys and gals. Here's what we need to stop. Once again, men need to take a page out of the female book and have a hive mentality. We need to say no mas.
Not my proudest fap. Oh my goodness.
That's terrible. But here's the thing. We as men need to start having some better standards. Okay, if a woman has filters on her profile pictures, the answer is no. Okay, the whole filters.
Can't do it. And the down angle?
Filters, yeah, down. Yeah, this duck lips, no. Single moms, no. She divorce raped somebody, no. She put a guy on child support, no. She just all of this ratchet behavior. It's like, at what point are men gonna have? Because all women have like basically like the same standard in men, right? Tall, dark, and handsome with money.
Rude,
right?
Or tall, pale as a driven snow, handsome with money.
Well, but at the end of the day, like women will modify their wants, their character traits in a man based on the money. No woman looks at Harvey Weinstein and wants Harvey Weinstein. Nobody. But that checkbook. So they go, well, especially if there's a movie part in the mix for them. Self-gain.
Would you hit it with Harvey Weinstein for the movie part?
If I was a chick?
No. Wait, no. Top or bottom?
Okay, here you go with this, man. So, here's Ayatollah of rock and roller. Yeah, debt-free with no tattoos. And not only, though, even debt-free virgin with no tattoos. That's the big one, because these chicks have been ran through, man. It's gotten scary out there. Nick, be thankful you're married. You don't want to know what's going on out there, man.
No, I don't.
Like when I say it's bad, it's bad, man. They're out here trying to get that money. The downward angles, the double chin. Yeah, it does. Was it Isaiah Frazier? Yeah, it hides the double chin, man. There's nothing okay about some of these angles I've seen women do. Like there was a time, Nick.
Hey, that's the iceberg shot. 98% of mass is out of frame.
It was horrible. Here's what bothers me about a lot of that though, is that I had an image up that someone had sent me. Someone texted me and they said it was like a little meme where the chick's like, all these dudes be lying or whatever, right? Then it showed a before and after of her before makeup And I thought I was a tranny. Real talk.
Yeah, these men.
And so what ends up happening is, for all the guys in the chat out there, have you ever seen a woman without makeup? Like your average, the female that you think is hot. Like you ever walk by, you're going to the grocery store and you see, celebrities without makeup. You're like, oh. And they really look that bad.
Have you ever?
They look that bad, man.
The one that's burned into my memory was a picture of Pink.
Oh, the singer Pink?
Yeah.
Oh, how'd she look?
I mean, that's charitable. But how does she look? How do you think? Woo.
Okay. So Pink on a good day. I think Pink on a good day. 6 or 7 on a good day, right? 6. That's fair. 6 or 7 without makeup. Where was she at? Oh, who was it? Midnight Sandwich. Porn stars with a puke face. Real talk. I saw a YouTube video on that. It's just like a before and after makeup. It showed these porn stars.
They're just rocking the body.
Nick, the Hollywood makeup they put on these chicks. I'm talking. There were chicks that literally went from like a 2 to an 8. I mean, you're talking. That is a huge gap. So
the best part about that makeup is it's fluid proof.
Yeah.
I mean it withstands.
It's false advertising. It's false advertising. Like, oh my God. Liquor's hitting Nick. Careful.
No, I've only had the one.
Yeah, the airbrush. Yeah, who was that? Woodman. Yeah, the airbrush. Look, man.
Airbrush, they air mop some of these ladies.
Man, it's bad. Well, think of it like this, though. As a man, we don't put on, we don't cake on makeup. That's why we don't age the same.
We don't put on makeup.
Well, that too. Remember, though, a lot of these women are caking it on. So, like, as men, we have more collagen, right? So, as we age, what ends up happening to us eventually? So, that's why if you notice, you look at a guy at age 30, look at that same guy at age 50. If he takes care of himself, he doesn't really age that much. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look, you and I have talked about some of the girls that we went to school with. They fell off. They hit the wall. Ate the brick and mortar and went through another wall.
Is it too early to say they Dale Earnharted?
You ain't right. You ain't right.
R.I.P. Dale. Sorry. Okay, we got next. The Mexican Man and Cheese says first guest is on that TFM stuff. Preach on, bro. Do you watch TFM? I don't even know who that is. But
Turfling and Monkey. Yeah, TFM. He actually has a lot of good content.
There you go. The last 300 a misfit Negro says I like this guy better than Warhammer. I did a Warhammer 40K stream.
The video game?
No, the books.
How was that Warhammer was a video game, right?
Well, I mean it's a tabletop game. Old school, like these little. I just started painting this one. This is the little minis.
Yeah. They little like battle suits and stuff. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So I did a Warhammer 40K. That's me as an Inquisitor, drawn by Bonitis, who is he's a furry porn artist, because that exists. But he's a good dude. So he did that one, and we did a stream the other day. But I did a 40K stream on Wednesday, I think. So that's what he's talking about. That was a fun stream.
Oh.
Yeah, we're in the same room, guys. Next, Matthew Needig says, also, Nick, you better post the stream somewhere. Oh, the stream's going up. I don't know what you mean by post the stream. The link to it's on Twitter, and the stream will be up on YouTube. Don't worry. Talbot Link says, sounds like some MiGTOW missiles here. Sakaki Onsai says, New Balance soles have the best flavor, says Shane. Y says, the name Kiwi Farms is just a phonetic corruption of CWCKI forums. It's a reference to Chris Chan while representing the forum's shift to following lolcows in general as opposed to just one. Yes, I am aware of the backstory. Automata says, respect to that Silent Hill 2 reference. Great game. Have you been playing the reboot of Silent Hill 2? Or not Silent Hill, Resident Evil 2 is what I was thinking.
Yeah, for those of you in the chat, that is Drex approved. I'm on my last playthrough. I'm on Leon Scenario B playthrough. So I'm almost at the very end. I'm at the very end of the sewer.
Should they reboot or should they remaster Silent Hill and Silent Hill 2? I remember playing Silent Hill 1 when it first came out.
Terrifying game.
And they had the heartbeat in the vibrating controller.
Correct.
Ooh, that was
Silent Hill 1 was actual, like, true like horror, like terror. Esteban, Resident Evil 2 remake is. I would say it's hands down the best remake ever, which is kind of ironic because the best remake up until this point I felt was the Resident Evil 1 remake on GameCube. And Silent Hill. It's too bad that it's just too bad that when you see things that you love just take a dive.
Yeah.
Here's what's sad about Silent Hill. I was a fan of Silent Hill. I liked the first two. Part 3, I was kind of like, it got kind of samey. But now you heard what happened with Kojima, right?
Something.
He teamed up with Guillermo del Toro, and they wanted to make that their horror game, which became PT. He's like his little teaser.
Yeah,
and it was this huge success. Everyone loved it. It was scary. Like, oh my god, this is what we want.
I played that thing. That was good,
right? That was just the teaser,
right? And that was terrifying.
He had the fallout with Konami.
Yeah.
So now we'll never know what Silent Hill could have been had Kojima taken hold. And it's just like, yep, there it is. Death Stranding. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to Kojima. I'm a huge Kojima fan. Being that Metal Gear Solid up until 5 was my favorite series of all time, bar none. Yeah, he got kind of posed with that deal with Konami. Unfortunately.
Just a second. I'm just in case they want to pop on.
And as for Lauren McDaniel, RE7. Now, I'm a huge Resident Evil fan, as Nick knows. I was not a fan of RE7. And here's my biggest gripe with that game.
What about the racist Resident Evil 4 or whatever?
Resident Evil 4 was racist?
I don't know. Which one?
Oh, 5.
Which one were they killing black zombies?
Yeah. Part 5. Yeah. That's such a ridiculous criticism.
Now, are black zombies faster than other zombies?
They ran about the same speed.
When you shoot one zombie, do all the other zombies scatter?
So, Resident Evil 5 just wasn't a very good game. Aware of the Kojima deception. Resident Evil 5 just wasn't a very good game. Resident Evil 6 was god awful. Resident Evil 7 was that Laughing Octopus. Oh, nice Metal Gear reference. Sheva was an okay character, but my thing was this. When it came to Resident Evil 7, I know you never played it, Nick, probably not, but it was first person. They tried to basically kind of they bit off Outlast quite a bit, right?
Sure.
Your character runs slow. There's one enemy in the whole game. The Molded. I want you to imagine what it's like to fight one enemy in an entire game. One enemy type.
What?
There's like 3, I think there's about 3 variations of the same enemy.
Sure, that sounds terrible.
The game was terrible. And you fight the family, the Baker family, if I recall, that was their name.
What were they baking? Hopefully they weren't German bakers.
Right? They were...
Fire up the ovens.
Wrong. Here's the thing. Okay, now you and I talk about game design a lot, right? And when we talk about game design, we talk about how do people make a game and look at it with pride, right? Like, yeah, we just finished a game that has one enemy type. How are you okay with that? I kid you not. In Resident Evil 7,
I don't know.
The Molded is the only. You're talking about a game that if you go back to the old Resident Evils, Nick, you had multiple enemy types, right? Like mutated spiders, mutated dogs. You had the zombies, the hunters. You had the tyrant. You had all these enemies that tested you in different ways, right? And yeah, you play this game and you're like, this is it? It's this black, I can't even just, almost like they're made of like a thick mercury or something. Like it's kind of weird, look like oil or something. That's the only enemy you fight. The whole game.
That gets tiring.
It gets old because you're just like, dude, here it is. And they even respawn. It's just like, no.
Here's my thing.
Cancel.
And I think that there's a difference between, there's a life difference, not life experience, but a stage of life difference between gamers. For me, for example, I have such a limited amount of time to play video games that I wouldn't tolerate that at all.
That is true.
And that's the difference. So a lot of people are saying it's good, and some people might be very hardcore gamers, and no, there's no judgment here. I wish I could be. And if that was the case and I could grind through a game and really enjoy it, that's it. But for me, the game, sorry, I'm whiskey burping. The game has to grab me from the get-go.
Correct.
It has to keep me entertained with ADD, because I can't sit down and just it's why I'm struggling. Like Diablo 3 will have a new season,
Mhm.
and I'm always like I'll start it and then I just will stop after a day. Like, well, I mean, it was fun, but it's not because it's the same thing over and over. So the game
Correct.
has to keep me guessing. So I mean, if you got one enemy type, for me, I just can't do it. Other people can enjoy it, but
Well, for me, like I can actually remember this was I think Resident Evil 7. I believe it was 2 years ago. I believe it was 2017. I red boxed it. I knew it was a game I could beat in 2 rentals. Right? Like okay, if I rented it this time, play straight through. I can probably beat the game. Depending on how long it is. In 12 hours, right? 12, 14 hours, something. Okay, I'll rent it twice.
$60 games that you beat in 12 hours should be burned at the stake.
However, I disagree, and here's why.
Well, only if it's got replay, that's different.
Here's my argument to that.
The
Last of Us.
You can teach me that $4.50 an hour is worth my.
But here's my point, though. The Last of Us was worth every penny to me. I'm not saying you liked it. I don't know if you ever played it, but The Last of Us worked for me, right?
No, I was playing the other one. There was a PC game that was similar in thought. Is post-apocalyptic survival game, and
DayZ or something. There's a
no,
lot of games coming out at that time.
No, this one was crazy. I could find it in my Steam library real quick. This is an interesting game because there was very limited ammo in the game, but you could have a gun with no ammo in it, and you could gamble on intimidating people that you encountered.
Oh, really?
So you could pull the gun on them, and what was it called? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna find it real quick. Here we go. It's very exciting, I know, guys. I Am Alive. It was the game I Am Alive, and it had the same survival elements, platform elements, but like you could gamble on threatening people with a gun, and if you didn't have ammo, you might need to bust out that machete.
Do what you gotta do,
or you might put them down.
I mean, I look at a lot of these games that are coming out now, right? And I look at games like this. I view games the same way I view movies. If like I've had that argument that with people that I've worked with in the past who have said like they don't like games a certain length, right? I view it differently. The worst thing that a game can do is be a great game, and then because they start stretching it, add all that.
Oh well, that
padding,
can be trash too. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, The Last of Us. The Last of Us is not a perfect game. I view The Last of Us the same way I view Silent Hill 2, which is it's a great game experience. It's not necessarily a great game because the mechanics in The Last of Us are basically exposed within the first hour and a half of the game. Like this is it. You're gonna end up fighting clickers. You're gonna fight runners, or you're gonna fight like the humans, like as like the bandit people, right? That's basically your enemy types. And you have a bloater here and there. So I love the game though, love it because I love the story. Like
sorry. Bloater got me.
Yeah, the bloaters. Like so even though I love the game, I can also openly admit that in the game I can see the flaws of the game, right? And
so on occasion you're gonna run into a bloater. You just have to deal with it.
That's it. You know how that is. Like when you watch something, it's like watching a movie. You're like this. Like you can watch a movie and say, The Godfather is great. However, here's some of the problems with The Godfather.
Godfather 2 is way too long.
Wait, it is too long.
It's what, three and a
Almost
half,
340,
yeah, something like that. Whew.
But remember though, look at the era it came out in. It came out in an era where people were like they didn't have any distractions, right?
Yeah.
Like so for them to sit in a movie for even though that was it had an intermission.
It was like a play.
It was like a play.
Yeah.
It played out. So it was like, okay, The Godfather 2 goes, intermission, you return. I look at a lot of these games like you were talking about. Can you justify a $60 game? I would rather get a $60 game like The Last of Us where I can play it, and because I love the experience itself so much, I can keep replaying the actual game itself because I enjoyed it. Kind of like when you watch your favorite movie, right? You can rewatch your favorite movie.
What's the most you would pay for a game?
I mean, depending on what kind of game I'm getting, maybe 80. 80 is probably like someone starts talking about these bonus packs or whatever, $100 games. Like, that's
see that far. You see that box right over there?
You really have Steel Battalion.
No, I don't have Steel Battalion.
Yeah, remember that? Well, that had a
Mojito
controller.
had Steel Battalion.
It had a controller.
No. Those cost more. The one in front there, that costs more than Steel Battalion. I think that one in the box over there. That was Total War Warhammer 1. The Collector's King's Edition. I think that was close to 300. It was like 250. But yeah, and then the second one there was like 150. And I have no regrets. Those were great games. That's the dumb thing. If you give me a good game, I will pay $150 for it. Well, of course, EverQuest I paid way more because you had the monthly service, the monthly subscription. So
yeah, I remember when EverQuest came out. But it was like, I think it was 98. It came out 98, 99.
99, yeah.
Was 99?
They have the 19. I just found. I remember seeing this a while back. They have this. This is cool. They're the 1999 project, where they are remade EverQuest from the start, and then they followed the release schedule of the patches in real time. So basically, they're on now the second expansion. But I mean, think about that. They started it with EverQuest 1 like 2 years ago, and now they're 2 expansions in. Basically, every year they'll patch up to the next expansion and so on and so forth. So you've got a decade of nostalgia.
Yep.
I would love to play it, except here's the thing.
But is that practical though?
For me, no. For me, no, because I can't dump hundreds and hundreds of hours into the game anymore because I'm too.
You're just too busy.
Yeah, but if I were a kid, if I were in college again, or if I were in high school, I mean, I would love it.
Mm-hmm.
If I had that kind of time, I would play it in a heartbeat. Even if I had that kind of time now, I would play it in a heartbeat.
Well, I bet you, it's like you just said about, what is your situation when you're playing?
Oh, did it stop at Velius? Is it done? No, it better not have stopped.
What stopped?
The 99 project. Apparently, it stopped at the second expansion.
Well, okay. What you just talked about earlier, right? What you are doing in your life when you play a game. If you look at everyone in this chat, I'm assuming has, obviously you guys got a lot of anime fans, a lot of gamers and stuff.
Yeah.
If I were to ask everyone in the chat to list their, let's say the first, 5 games or whatever that they can think of that just kind of like pop into their mind, the best 3 games that makes them say like, this was my game. I bet you that game has an emotional attachment to you. It's because it was at a very unique time in your life. Like, yeah. Like, I know people who Final Fantasy VII is dear to them because of when it came out. Super Metroid means a lot to me because of when it came out.
Yeah, FF7 was okay, but I know a lot of people
like Part 3 better.
Way more attached to it than I am.
Yeah. Remember, because like what I see a lot of people saying Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger was good. Our buddy Mojito, he loves Chrono Trigger, man.
Yep, I know a lot of people. Huge. I'm a Metal Gear Solid guy.
Did you see the Chrono Trigger 3D remake that a guy was working on and got taken down by copyright?
Of course they did.
Dude, it was amazing.
I bet it was.
This guy was fully rendering Chrono Trigger in 3D.
They don't care. You know how these companies are.
Yep. And it's like, what do you just hire him?
Right.
Just hire him. You'll make infinity money.
I saw someone say Shenmue. Yeah, Dreamcast.
Shenmue. I'm gonna cook my dinner. You know what? You know what, Shenmue? You can.
You go.
You can Shamu right off the edge of the planet for all I care.
Here we go. but you know what though? Like I look back on
Shenmue. You can't play that game.
I look back on Shenmue, Knights of the Old Republic. I see that. With a game like Shenmue, it was very ambitious for its time. Obviously, it was a little over ambitious. It couldn't quite handle everything. But as you look at these people's their response with the subs in the comment section, I look at the games you guys are saying, and it also gives me a clue to what age you probably are.
Yeah, and if anyone in the chat says Heavy Rain, I ban you immediately.
I like Heavy Rain. I didn't love it.
You kill yourself. No, wait, don't.
Love it.
I can't say that on YouTube. You, sir, find a pile of razors and jump in it.
Who thinks Heavy Rain is like look, Heavy Rain is a great, once again, Heavy Rain is a great game experience, an experiment. It is not a great game.
Man, Heavy Rain can eat all of the shit in the world.
Oh, here you go.
You know, our friend who I told you was just over at my house, he made me play Heavy Rain. I fell asleep immediately to that game. That game can get all of the dragon-shaped dildos for all.
Oh my God! Here you go. Look, at the end of the day, I see someone who's that quietness. Sean yelling for his kid. Listen, I really
yelling
like
for his
Heavy
kid
Rain.
for an hour.
Okay,
For an hour.
here we go.
Oh my goodness.
So look,
I blacked out. I lost my child in the crowd. Oh, I blacked out again. Hey, I blacked out again. Oh, what are you going to do? Oh, you're an architect. Let's go over to your architect. That game can die.
yeah,
Oh my
look.
God.
Like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed Heavy Rain as a game experience. Like, in terms of gaming elements, it lacks, absolutely. Because any game that just has you basically, real time, was it the real time events, the little RTs and all that stuff. So it had the right idea. It's execution. Like,
Alcoholic Dad Simulator.
wait, what did it say?
Someone called Heavy Rain the Alcoholic Dad Simulator.
Pretty much. Yeah, and they never explained the blackouts. That was a pure narrative device. It was a cheat. It's basically like, how do we get this to happen? He has blackouts.
Yeah.
Never explained.
Right.
Plot hole. Like, what do you mean? I mean, that's not normal. Yeah, the quick time events. I look at some of the games that people are saying in the comments section, and you know what? It kind of goes to show you though, like, the genres that you like, the era that you played a game in. Well, how old were you? Like, that stuff really matters. Like, most of the best games you ever played are usually at a very important time in your life. Like, it's probably not when you're 6. It's probably closer to 16. Like, I played this game and this is what it meant to. Usually, it meant something to you. Like, I can remember when I first played Metal Gear Solid. We had played Metal Gear on the original Nintendo. Obviously, it's a bastardized version. It's not the true Metal Gear. And we liked the character, but that was the first time we had, heard great voice acting. That we got a story that wasn't garbage. Video games back in you remember the voice acting in the early PlayStation games? It was terrible.
Yeah, I didn't play Metal Gear, so I can't color me skeptical about great voice acting. Was it good? Was it actually good?
Metal Gear was a turning point. Like,
all right.
If you go back in games, it's like it was the production value. So, like, especially by the time you get like Snake Eater, like with Lori Allen, who's actually voiced on Family Guy. She voices the main antagonist or anti-hero in this.
Who's she voice on Family Guy?
She is who's our Diane is the news lady, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's Lori Allen's voice. Yeah. And her voice acting. News lady? What's that?
No, not Trisha Takanawa.
Yeah.
The blonde one
is Diane, right? Diane.
I don't know, but the two news anchors who hate each other.
Yeah.
God,
Trisha Takanawa. They always refer to her as Asian reporter. It's like, oh, come on. I did no one play Tomb Raider. Yeah, it was actually the second game on PlayStation I ever played was Tomb Raider. It's just Metal Gear Solid 2 was actually my favorite. That was in my top. That might have been my favorite ending. That and Snake Eater were my 2 favorite endings.
I've completely lost the script of where we are, so I'm going to read super.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
We're just all over the place. It's all good.
Yeah, and that's good. That's good. Lulu CC says, Nick, can you finish the story of why New Zealand hates you? Oh yeah, I didn't finish that story.
Oh.
So I had Josh on. He's the guy who preserved the video of the live stream of the guy gunning down all the Muslims in New Zealand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he kept the video. New Zealand, whatchamacallit, told him to preserve the data. He told them, he actually called them an naughty word that rhymes with gaggots.
Oh wow.
But he basically told him to F off, right? Like, you're a stupid country and no one cares. Because he's an American, and Americans can have that information. They can have the video. Can't stop them. And so, because I did that interview, there was a New Zealand publication that wrote about it, and they talked about my live stream with him, and they were very mad that we were laughing, like that we had jokes in the live stream about the shooting. Now, granted, we weren't joking about the shooting. We actually did not disrespect the loss of life in any way.
Mm-hmm.
But we had so they sent him an email. Are you familiar with the Haka?
What is that?
A New Zealand or a Maori, the indigenous people of New Zealand, the Maori dance, like an intimidating dance where they yell and stick their tongue out and stuff. A tribal dance, basically. Okay, so it's supposed to be an intimidating thing, and they do some cool stuff with it. Like, you can find Haka wedding proposals and stuff like that are neat out on YouTube. Anyway, so they sent him the Maori, sorry. They sent him email, and I asked him if they haka'd him over email, which was a joke, right? Because it's an intimidating dance. That was the whole point. And they got really pissed off about stuff like that. And I actually had some New Zealander send me a message on Facebook. They went and found me and were like, "You are a despicable human being." And I was like, "What's up, bro?" Well, and we had a nice chat about it. But so that's why New Zealand hates me, is because I had Josh on my stream, and he is not allowed to do this because they tried to have every single version of that video taken down.
Oh,
which is crazy because,
well,
what happened? Why would you take it down? I mean, I know people died, but at the same time, when you take it down, you erase history, right? It happened.
True.
You're not.
I mean, here's the thing though. I think.
Are you pro murder videos?
You're okay. So you have different types of you have commentary, right? When it comes to something happening, you have commentary. You have reporting, right? Someone is reporting on the news. You have people commentating on what has happened, and then yours is more like commentary, sort of, kind of its own avenue. So I don't know why they would care so much, but at the end of the day, what will come next in New Zealand will be far worse than what come before, because when you have a knee-jerk reaction, like what happened was terrible, obviously, but what will come next could be worse.
Right.
When you try to, like I said, that knee-jerk reaction, right? Just, okay, well, ban all guns. You can wind up having a problem far worse than guns could have ever been. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen this throughout history where someone, like, I mean,
if people don't have guns, they use bombs.
Right?
Because you can make bombs out of just about anything.
Yeah, manure, like Timothy McVeigh.
Imagine if people started making homemade napalm.
Yeah.
Like, because I'll tell you what, I'll take a bullet to the brain over being burned to death.
Yeah.
With napalm.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing, you heard the new UK trying to take away knives now, right? They want knives gone.
That's because the knife gangs.
It's like they don't understand. You can make a knife out of anything.
They literally have like guys running around the UK with swords, like as if it's 1480.
Yeah. Here's the thing though. Like, I'll give you a prime example of what happens. What a knee-jerk reaction can. You have people who, especially women of that era, were the ones prohibition. Women push for prohibition, not men. Men were the ones drinking.
Yeah.
So women pushed the government for prohibition, and they got it right. All right, prohibition. You thought you solved a problem. Oh, then you got organized crime.
Yeah.
So whatever problem you thought. So by
literally created the mob.
You literally created an entire evil force. And so now you're thinking to yourself, so by the time prohibition ended, you know what the people were thinking, Nick? You were better off with the alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, was it really that bad? So now you realize, but now the mafia's still here. So you didn't get rid of the alcohol problem.
No. Nope.
You still had people who were drunk, but now you just created. So now you have a two-headed monster instead of one.
Right.
You were better off just saying, okay, how about we try to regulate and minimize the damage this one monster can do, because we know it's going to exist, because it has to exist, because it's part of human nature. Desire. People desire booze. I don't drink, but most people do. So what do? The worst thing you can do is go ban it. Anytime you ban something, ban pornography and see what happens. You'll get a black market. Ban guns, you get a black market. Ban booze, you get a black market. That's what. So in New Zealand,
is a black market better or worse than a white market? I'll put you on the spot, you racist.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, the market's racist. You get to a point where you go like this. You're going to start having people do what? Like you said, bombs, knives. Well, what if people start handmade guns? You can 3D guns, and what if instead of bullets, you're firing something else?
How many people did Timothy McVeigh kill?
It was quite a bit. I mean, people were
like
obsessed with OJ.
People killed 168 people.
Is that what it says?
168 death and 680 injured. Like, no,
OJ got more coverage though. It would take
an immense amount of
you would make it, because
fortune to pull off a mass shooting to get.
If you try to kill that many people, you've been gunned down. Unless you're the only one with guns and there's no one else. And by the time the police got there, you're creating more problems.
Yeah. Internet Tab. I want to read this one real quick because I think you'll get a kick out of it. He says, "How about zombies ate my neighbors?
Oh man,
Hard AF. If you use passwords, you screw yourself out of weapons."
yeah,
Kind of like, have you ever seen the speed run of A Boy and His Blob?
no,
Here's the thing. I'm not even kidding. You know, Boy and His Blob, you go that way.
yeah. They
No.
can do one too.
You go that way. Just go left. I mean, you have like everything you need to beat A Boy and His Blob at the beginning of the game. You just go left instead of right.
Really?
I'm not even kidding. It's the funniest speed run I've ever seen because that game was difficult.
Right? I never. Wow.
And you just walk left, and it's the weirdest thing. Oh my! You have to use a particular like set of beans too, right? The jelly beans.
That was hard, man. I remember that.
It's so stupid, so stupid. Yeah, but Zombies Ate My Neighbors. That was a tough game. You know, the Simpsons game was really difficult.
Wait.
Bart,
Arcade or Bart versus Space
Bart
Mutants?
versus the Space Mutants.
Bart, okay, no one I know ever beat that, and we were very, 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 very good at games.
I played that game a ton and couldn't even.
It was
close.
no joke, man. Bart versus Space Mutants was hard. I mean, if there's someone in the chat who beat that. Yeah, Blast Master was good stuff, man.
Bart versus the Space Mutants. Was,
Bart versus the World was the other one.
I like the arcade
aliens.
game.
The arcade game was nice.
The tag teams were great.
Yep, you tag up like Marge and Bart or whatever.
Arcade Crazy Taxi. Cliffhanger for Sega CD.
Sega CD. The Avalanche.
Come on.
Hey, Cliffhanger was no joke, man.
Okay, let's see. We've got. Where am I? Obo299. We get asked this question every time you're on. Does Drexel have a YouTube channel I would follow? No, he does not at present. Not at present.
Next year, 2020. I'm telling you.
2020. Drexel for 2020 YouTube. The last 300 of Misfit Negro says, ask Drex if he's ever heard of Terrence Pop.
Yeah, he has good content. I'm a big Terrence Pop fan. He adds a lot of comedy to the manosphere. He's a veteran, a war veteran.
Is he a meme war veteran?
Well, I'm sure his wife used that against him in family court. He's another one guy. He's another one of those guys who, let's just say, Nick, he got took.
Uh-oh. Don't get took. Don't go to family court.
Yeah,
guys,
it is.
I'm a lawyer. You won't catch me in family court. I hate it. I hate it. Let's see. M says, I'd blame Amazon for killing companies. That was going back to your earlier point about women not shopping.
Oh, you know what? They've done studies on this. Although there's a huge rise in e-commerce, it's not like Amazon is like this end-all be-all. It's like it's not even popular at all in Canada.
I would buy everything on Amazon. I'm not even kidding. I want to pay for Jeff Bezos' divorce myself.
Oh, of course you do.
Because I don't ever want to leave my house to go to a store.
Well, the drone drops are coming.
Yeah.
It's coming next.
I'm going to sit outside with my shotgun and take those things down and steal stuff. Little Dracula. Pull! Follow God's Path or Feel Tesla's Wrath says, I'm trying to decide if it's a good idea for me to patronize Chick-fil-A. On one hand, they discriminate against the homosexuals, but on the other hand, their food sucks.
Wow.
I don't really like Chick-fil-A. They've got something sweet in the batter that I don't really... I mean, they're fine.
Well, they use peanut oil.
Is that what it is? There's something sugary in the batter that I don't like.
It shouldn't be sugary. But I know you're talking about it because it does have a different taste, a different twang. They use peanut oil. That's why the taste is different.
Cane's or Chick-fil-A? You're a chicken expert.
Cane's or Chick-fil-A? Okay, it depends on what I'm getting, though. Personally, I would take Chick-fil-A, honestly. Like, I like Cane's. I have nothing against Cane's.
You take Chick-fil-A over Cane's?
Yeah, I would take Popeyes over both.
Well, Popeyes you take over anything.
I mean, obviously.
But I don't take Chick-fil-A over Cane's. 10 times out of 10, I go to Cane's.
Really?
Yeah.
I will say this, though. You know what's really good at Chick-fil-A? They're was it the egg white grill? So grilled chicken breasts, egg white, with cheese, and then you add bacon.
Okay.
It works. It hits the spot.
I don't know, man. I believe you, but I don't know. I go to Cane's every time.
Oh man, who's that? Is that Michael Fox? Church's became terrible, man. Church's chicken used to be the real deal back in the day. It became hot garbage.
I haven't had Church's in 2 decades.
It's bad, man. I had it in Memphis. I think I was with my daughter. Was I with my daughter or my ex? It was bad. I was like, oh. It was just like